Listen, if you're feeling stuck, unmotivated, or like your life is on autopilot, this is your wake-up call. Because the truth is, your life doesn't change by accident. It changes by habit. And in this video, I'm breaking down 5 daily habits that will completely transform your mindset, your energy, and your future. Don't just watch the first few seconds. Watch the whole thing. Your future self is begging you to. Own your morning before the world does. Every single day, when you open your eyes and come back to consciousness, you're handed the most powerful opportunity of your life, the chance to start fresh. But here's the catch. What you do in those first few hours determines everything else. That's why owning your morning before the world does isn't just a feel-good phrase. It's a personal revolution. And if you want to radically transform your life, it starts the second your alarm goes off. Let's start with something simple but massive. Your brain. The moment you wake up, your brain transitions from a deep sleep state, specifically from delta to theta to alpha brainwaves. During this phase, you're most impressionable. You're in a natural state of hypnosis. That's why, if the first thing you do is grab your phone and scroll through emails or social media, you're literally programming your mind with stress, comparison, and urgency before your feet even touch the floor. You're handing over your mindset, your mood, your energy to the outside world. You're letting the world dictate your day. That's not just a bad habit. It's self-sabotage disguised as routine. Instead, imagine this. You wake up, take a deep breath, sit on the edge of your bed, and ask yourself one simple question. What do I want to feel today? That question alone puts you in control. You're not reacting, you're creating. You're not surviving, you're designing. This isn't some fluffy concept. Neuroscience backs it. When you wake up with intentionality, you engage the prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, and you begin the process of directing your thoughts, which in turn direct your emotions and ultimately your behavior. Now let's talk about habits, because none of this works without consistency. One of the most successful habits of top performers, billionaires, elite athletes, Navy SEALs, is that they all own their morning before the noise of the world creeps in. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, wakes up at 3:45 a.m., Oprah Winfrey meditates and journals first thing in the morning. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in the gym by 4 a.m. This isn't about waking up early just to brag. It's about waking up before distractions, before emails, before obligations, and creating space, mentally, physically, and emotionally, for yourself. That space is sacred. That space is where transformation begins. But let's address the elephant in the room. Waking up early isn't easy, especially if you're not a morning person. But here's a truth bomb. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to win your morning. You need to wake up before you have to. Before life starts demanding your attention. That could be 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., or 8 a.m., depending on your schedule. What matters is what you do in that first hour, and what you don't do. Let's break down the domino effect. Say you wake up and spend 10 minutes in silence. You reflect. You breathe. You stretch. Then you journal your top 3 intentions for the day. What you want to feel, what you want to accomplish, and what you're grateful for. Now your brain is focused, your energy is directed, and you've trained your mind to look for positives. Next, you move your body, even if it's just 10 minutes. You get your blood flowing, endorphins firing, your metabolism activated. That movement tells your body and brain, we're alive, we're ready, let's go. You've now stacked 3 powerful wins: mindfulness, intention, and motion, all before the rest of the world has even asked you for anything. You're leading your day, not chasing it. Let me give you a real example. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, talks about the 1% rule. If you get just 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That compounding effect starts with your mornings. They're the keystone of your entire day. And when you don't control your morning, the rest of your day becomes about catching up, not showing up. Have you ever noticed how, on the days you start your morning in chaos, running late, skipping breakfast, scrolling social media, everything feels rushed? Your patience wears thin. You're more reactive. That's not a coincidence. It's a chain reaction. Now let's go deeper. There's something spiritual about the early morning, before the emails, be mind to look for positives. Next, you move your body, even if it's just 10 minutes. You get your blood flowing, endorphins firing, your metabolism activated. That movement tells your body and brain, we're alive, we're ready, let's go. You've now stacked 3 powerful wins: mindfulness, intention, and motion, all before the rest of the world has even asked you for anything. You're leading your day, not chasing it. Let me give you a real example. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, talks about the 1% rule. If you get just 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That compounding effect starts with your mornings. They're the keystone of your entire day. And when you don't control your morning, the rest of your day becomes about catching up, not showing up. Have you ever noticed how, on the days you start your morning in chaos, running late, skipping breakfast, scrolling social media, everything feels rushed? Your patience wears thin. You're more reactive. That's not a coincidence. It's a chain reaction. Now let's go deeper. There's something spiritual about the early morning, before the emails, before the texts, before the world starts spinning with noise. There's silence. And in that silence, you can actually hear yourself think. You reconnect with a part of you that gets buried throughout the day, your intuition, your values, your dreams, that still, quiet voice that says, you were meant for more. That's when you visualize. That's when you manifest. That's when you reconnect with your why. Athletes visualize before the game. CEOs visualize the outcome before the meeting. Why not you? Why not take 5 minutes each morning to see yourself becoming the person you want to be? Healthier, wealthier, calmer, stronger, more focused, more fulfilled. Visualization isn't daydreaming. It's rehearsal. And your brain doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. Olympic athletes use this technique to shave milliseconds off their times. You can use it to reshape your life. Let's bring in one more powerful concept: momentum. Newton's first law states that an object in motion stays in motion. The same applies to your psychology. When you start the day with intention, action, and clarity, that momentum carries into your work, your relationships, your goals. You start building evidence that you are someone who shows up for yourself. That self-trust is the foundation of self-confidence. And confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one intentional morning at a time. Now, let's talk about resistance, because it will come. You'll be tempted to hit snooze. You'll have days where the bed feels like quicksand. That's when the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins becomes your secret weapon. The moment you feel hesitation, count down 5-4-3-2-1 and move. Don't negotiate with your feelings. Action kills doubt. And small action is better than perfect inaction. Even on days when everything feels off, show up for your morning. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. There's a reason this habit is first on the list, because it affects everything else. Your morning is the foundation of your mindset. It sets the tone for how you handle stress, how you interact with people, how focused you are on your goals. And when you stack winning mornings, day after day, you build a life that feels aligned, powerful, and intentional. That's when life starts changing in ways that seem magical, but they're not magic. They're results. So ask yourself, what if you stopped rushing your mornings and started respecting them? What if the first thing you gave attention to was you, not your notifications? What if you woke up like your future depends on it? Because it does. If you want to change your life, change your mornings. If you want to stop feeling behind, stop starting behind. You don't need a perfect routine. You need a consistent one. You don't need to be a morning person. You need to be a you person, and the version of you that owns their morning, that version wins their day, wins their week, wins their life. Move your body to move your mind. Let's make something crystal clear right from the start. Movement is not just about getting fit. It's not just about losing weight or building muscle. Moving your body is one of the most powerful tools you have to sharpen your mind, elevate your energy, regulate your emotions, and transform how you show up to life every single day. This is not about aesthetics. This is about access. Access to the best version of yourself. You want a better mindset? Move. You want clarity? Move. You want more confidence, more creativity, more discipline? Move. Because when your body moves, your brain changes. Your life follows. Let's dive into the science. When you engage in physical activity, even for just 10 minutes, your body releases a cascade of chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and endorphins. These aren't just feel-good buzzwords. These are brain-changing, life-shifting neurochemicals that improve your mood, increase your focus, lower anxiety, and help you build the mental resilience required to navigate a world that demands more from you every day. Think of it like this: your body is the ignition key for your brain. If you want to fire up your focus, your productivity, your self-belief, you have to move. And here's what's wild. It doesn't take an hour at the gym. It doesn't take a marathon or a fitness boot camp or a personal trainer yelling at you in a garage. Studies show that even 20 minutes of moderate physical activity, walking, dancing, doing jumping jacks, yoga, climbing stairs, can significantly boost cognitive function. Just 20 minutes. That's one Netflix episode. That's one scroll session on TikTok. But the return you get from those 20 minutes of movement, it's exponential. Because you're not just exercising your body, you're upgrading your entire system. Let me tell you a story. There's a reason why some of the greatest thinkers in history used movement as a ritual. Charles Darwin would take long walks through the woods before writing. Steve Jobs was known for his walking meetings. Nikola Tesla would walk miles each day to stimulate his thinking. This wasn't a coincidence. They understood, intuitively and through experience, that motion activates the mind. It clears the static. It unlocks new ideas. It restores your sense of control. When you're stressed, overwhelmed, emotionally off-center, what do most people do? They overthink. They spiral. They freeze. But the fastest way out of a stuck mind is through a moving body. You can't think your way out of anxiety. You have to act your way out. Literally. Movement shifts your state. It's a reset button you carry with you everywhere, and it's free. You don't need a therapist to walk around the block. You don't need a guru to do a 10-minute stretch. You need a decision, a small intentional act that reminds your nervous system, we're safe, we're alive, we're moving forward. Think about how often people say, I feel stuck. I can't get out of my head. I feel low energy. These are physical signals, and they require physical responses. Sitting still, hoping to feel motivated, doesn't work. Waiting for inspiration before you move is a trap. The truth is, movement creates motivation. When you move, your energy rises. Your posture shifts, your blood flows, your breath deepens, and all of that tells your brain, let's go. Now let's talk about discipline, because movement, when done consistently, becomes one of the greatest training grounds for your mind. Every time you push your body, you stretch your capacity. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you reinforce a powerful identity. I'm someone who does hard things. That identity bleeds into every part of your life. If you can do that last push-up, if you can go for that walk when it's raining, if you can run one more minute, then you can also write that email, make that tough phone call, start that business, stand up for yourself, speak up in that meeting. Movement builds grit. Grit builds character. And character shapes destiny. Let's take it further. Movement isn't just physical, it's emotional. Trauma, fear, resentment, sadness, these things get trapped in our bodies. That's not just metaphor, that's biology. Emotions are energy. When we suppress them and stay stagnant, they linger. They weigh us down. But when we move, when we sweat, when we dance, when we release tension through breath and muscle, we give those emotions an exit. Movement becomes therapy. And the best part, it doesn't require words. You don't have to explain anything. You just move, and your body knows what to do. Want an example? Watch a kid dance when their favorite song comes on. They don't care who's watching. They don't care what it looks like. That kind of movement is pure joy, pure presence. It's freedom. And somewhere along the line, we lose that. We trade joy for judgment, freedom for self-consciousness. But the body remembers. And the moment you stop caring about what it looks like and start caring about how it feels, that's when movement becomes sacred again. Now let's talk about the long game. People often think that changing your life requires some massive event, a dramatic shift, a wake-up call, a rock bottom. But most transformation isn't explosive. It's consistent. It's subtle. It's doing the small thing, daily, until the results are undeniable. Moving your body every day, even when you don't feel like it, is a vote for the person you want to become. And over time, those votes add up. They become habits. Then they become identity. Eventually, it's not something you do. It's who you are. And the ripple effect. Massive. You sleep better. You eat better. You think clearer. Your confidence rises. Your posture changes, literally and metaphorically. You walk into rooms differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself like someone who takes care of themselves. And that changes how the world responds to you, because people mirror what you project. Move like someone who matters, and you'll start attracting opportunities that reflect that belief. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. And you need to get over the idea that it has to be some intense, sweaty workout every time. It doesn't. Some days it'll be a power walk. Some days a stretch. Some days you'll dance in your kitchen like a maniac. And some days, yes, you'll push your limits. But every day you move. That's the habit. That's the commitment. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And daily movement is one of the most reliable systems you can build. It doesn't require motivation. It builds it. It doesn't need to be long. It needs to be regular. It doesn't fix everything, but it strengthens your ability to face anything. So the next time your mind feels heavy, your heart feels anxious, your energy feels off, don't reach for your phone. Don't crawl back into bed. Don't scroll through other people's lives hoping to feel better about your own. Stand up. Breathe deep. Move. Shake off the story. Reset the day. Because your body is waiting to help you, if you let it. The difference between the person who wins and the person who waits is movement. One takes action. The other makes excuses. One builds momentum. The other waits for motivation. Be the one who moves, even slowly, even imperfectly. Because once you do, you'll realize that the power to change your life was never out there. It was in your body all along. Do one hard thing every single day. Let's face it, life isn't easy, and it's not supposed to be. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Doing hard things on purpose is what makes life easier in the long run. Doing hard things builds something in you that nothing else can. Grit. And when you build grit, you stop being afraid of discomfort. You stop being paralyzed by resistance. You stop negotiating with fear. That's why this habit, doing one hard thing every single day, is a game changer. Because when you face difficulty head on, you stop being defined by your limits and you start being shaped by your strength. But let's be clear. When I say hard, I don't mean dangerous. I don't mean reckless. I mean challenging. I mean that thing you don't want to do, that task you keep avoiding, that conversation you've been putting off, that project you said you'd start someday, that rep that burns, that run when it's cold, that no when you usually say yes. Hard things aren't the same for everyone, but they all have one thing in common. They demand courage. They require effort. And that effort is the birthplace of every powerful transformation. Let's dive into the psychology. Your brain is wired to avoid pain and seek comfort. It's part of your survival instinct. Thousands of years ago, avoiding discomfort kept you alive. But today, that same wiring is what's keeping you stuck. Because every time you avoid something hard, you reinforce a belief that you're not strong enough. You train your mind to equate